As we deal with near record cold over the next couple of days, a group helping the homeless says this is the worst winter they've ever seen when it comes to safety.
And a program here in Madison wants to help people outside the city get the mental health help they need.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now this morning.
Good morning and welcome to News 3 Now this morning on this Monday, March 4th. But you wouldn't guess it was March by the temperatures out there. 30 degrees below what we should be at.
January.
Yeah.
Yeah, it feels like we're going back in time instead of forward, but we are. Sun's coming up earlier. That's the good news.
There you go.
We have near record cold conditions this morning. Let's take a live look from the WISC-TV sky cam. Thought we'd start with the best news. Skies are mostly clear this morning, so a great start to the day. Here's a look at the live look from the WISC-TV sky cam. Nice amount of sunshine this morning. Sun coming up just before 6:30 today. Alert days, though, are in the forecast for today and tomorrow. We're talking morning wind chills ranging 20 to 30 below, near record cold temperatures as well. A wind chill advisory is in effect for the entire area. That goes until 10 o'clock this morning, so bundle up. Ooh, you guys, we've done it. A new record. 10 below is our current temperature here in Madison.
Yay.
So that breaks the old record set back in 1884. Nobody remembers that. 10 below in Lone Rock, 13 below in the Dells, 6 below in Janesville. Our wind chills today will stay well below zero, only climbing to around 10 below late this afternoon. The good news, I guess, is, though, that we have sunshine and pretty quiet weather, so the weather shouldn't hamper your travels at all. There is an accident, though, on Highway 113, rather. The road is blocked there due to a rollover crash. This is near Kennedy and Knutson Road, so be aware of that. Otherwise, on the Beltline, no major issues just yet. Looks like volume is still pretty light. If you're headed into Madison, you're still going at posted speeds on all those major routes.
Something else we haven't seen since 1884, apparently Kellogg patented the flaked cereal. Just a brief search, guys. This is the kind of stuff you find.
Oh,
My goodness
boy.
gracious. Yeah.
It's good stuff.
It's been a little while.
That's some good trivia for today.
Yikes. Yikes. All right. Bundle up, right?
Yes. Thank you, Hattie.
Grit and bear it.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so frostbite can set in 30 minutes or less in this morning's wind chills, and this is par for the course this winter, really making for a tough year for the homeless and the people who help them.
Those groups are asking for more of your help to make sure people are staying safe. Josh Breiter joins us now with more on this story. Good morning, Josh.
Good morning, ladies. We've introduced you to the Friends of the State Street family before. The nonprofit has been around since 2011, but this has been an unusually tough winter on them. They do outreach at night, primarily on State Street and the square downtown. Volunteers are there to give any basic necessities to those living out in the cold and point them in the direction of help from area shelters. They do anything from making meals for the hungry and giving places to stay for those who with nowhere to call home. But this year they've really seen it all. The record cold has made it hard for them to keep up with the work, and that's why your help is needed in making the community a safer place for all.
I put the call out and people respond immediately. So yeah, I would encourage anybody that would like to help to visit our Facebook page, contact us through our website. That would be tremendous.
The organization has been around since 2011, but this season they're really seeing the scope of why their work is so important. They've seen anything from people suffering from severe frostbite to even sick children on the streets. If you're interested in helping out right now, they are specifically asking for donations of new winter boots, heavy coats, sleeping bags, hand warmers, any sort of emergency gear you can think of. You can also volunteer your time, and for more information, you can go to the story at channel3000.com. And what I've learned, it's really just very easy. Just a little bit of time can help them out in a big way. They usually don't have to worry about this at this point in the season, but this year is just, you know, one of those things we're just not used to this.
What's pretty crazy is how cold it's been this winter, yet it has not been fatal yet, which I think is a testament to how hard these organizations are working.
And that's what you heard from Jeff Turk there, the communications manager. He said that's their goal going into this, is they don't want to have any deaths throughout the year, and he cannot believe that they have not this year with how cold it has been.
It's good news.
An important initiative to support. All right, Josh Breiter reporting for us. Thank you, Josh.
So it's not the cold, but deadly tornadoes that are making headlines down south this morning. The National Weather Service will be in Alabama today, confirming a number of reported tornadoes in that state. Yesterday's storm system killed at least 23 people, and officials do expect that number to rise as search, rescue, and recovery crews look through more of the rubble today. Some towns are completely destroyed or devastated in that state. CBS This Morning will be live from Alabama with more on the damage and loss of life. That's coming up right after 7.
Back in Madison, police are still looking for the person who shot a 22-year-old this weekend. It happened on the east side along Mendota Street around 1 a.m. Sunday morning. Officers didn't find any shell casings or other evidence at the scene, but they did find a man with gunshot wounds at the hospital. Again, there is no one in custody right now. Anyone with information about this shooting, anybody who might have seen something, should call Madison Police at that number right there on your screen, or give the Madison Area Crime Stoppers a call.
A UW-Milwaukee professor is on leave and will be back in court later this month after he was charged with sexually assaulting 2 students. Anthony Azinabor faces 2 counts of second-degree sexual assault using force and 1 count of fourth-degree sexual assault. A judge set a $7,500 cash bond over the weekend. Now, prosecutors say Azinabor assaulted a female student over a period of time last spring, and then court records show a second student came forward claiming the biomedical science instructor had sexually assaulted her as well. Now, UW-Milwaukee did release a statement saying that the university is evaluating Azinabor's employment, and in the meantime, he is not assigned to teaching any classes.
In Green Bay, a Roman Catholic diocese plans to remove the name of a former bishop from its cathedral. Bishop Aloysius Wielisco allegedly failed to adequately address claims of clergy abuse while he was bishop from 1968 to 1983. The new bishop, David Ricken, says removing his name will help victims heal. That facility will instead change its name to the Cathedral Center.
More than half of Wisconsinites who need mental health services just aren't getting them, and those numbers are even higher in rural areas across the state. A program at UW-Madison, though, is working to train nurses and expand services in places where it's harder to access counselors and other mental health professionals. The Psychiatric Mental Health Care Certificate Program allows students to take most of their coursework online and do clinical rotations outside of Madison in those more rural areas.
Really important that we train and educate providers in communities that they will potentially go back and work in. The more intimately knowledgeable providers are about the communities they're serving in, the better they can tailor services to meet the needs of those communities.
So this 18-month certificate is for registered nurses who have a master's degree.
Researchers say Wisconsin is seeing its lowest number of newborns in the state in more than 40 years, thanks in part to less teen pregnancies. Data from the State Department of Health Services shows there were less than 65,000 babies born in 2017. That's the lowest in the state since 1973. Teen births have dropped 60% over the past decade. Other concerning data, though, shows low birth weight in babies is increasing. All right, 6:07 your time now. This week, there is a nationwide effort to help you and your family stay safe from scams, fraud, and identity theft. We're talking with the Better Business Bureau about some of the top consumer issues Wisconsin folks are dealing with and how they can help.
So we have already broken a record for the low temperature set back in 1884, and Hattie says we could break a record for the high temperature that is, that was set back when War and Peace was first published and the first pro baseball team was formed.
What?
Yeah, Hattie's alert day forecast with negative wind chills is next on News 3 Now this morning.
Good morning from the News 3 Now Forecast Center. In the files of It Could Always Be Worse, take a look at this graphic. Today is the anniversary of a devastating ice storm, one of the worst natural histories to ever hit Wisconsin. March 4th and 5th, 1976. We had thunderstorms that day, but cold temperatures, so rapidly building up ice accumulation on limbs, power lines, everything in southern Wisconsin. 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts, snapping some of those power lines and trees in half, so making the situation even worse. Ice accumulation ended up to 5 inches in diameter on some tree limbs and power lines. So very serious conditions. 100,000 people were without power for the storm. In rural areas, that lasted 10 days. You can imagine with March temperatures, that is not anything too pleasant. 21 counties in the state were declared federal disaster areas. So even though we have cold temperatures in the forecast, we don't have anything like that. Alert days, though, for today and tomorrow. We're talking wind chills this morning ranging 20 to 30 degrees below zero. Record cold temperatures as well. And when you talk those wind chills in the 20s to almost 30 degrees below zero, that means frostbite can occur in about 30 minutes or less. So bundle up any exposed skin. Wind chill advisories are in effect for the entire area until 10 o'clock this morning. Here's a look at your wind chill forecast. Wind chills in the 20s below zero, climbing only to around 10 degrees below zero later on this afternoon. So we're not going to see wind chills above zero today. Skies are clear for the area, though. We will have some sunshine in the forecast. Our current air temperatures across the region, 10 below here in Madison. That is a new record. 17 below in Eau Claire, 14 below in Superior. A closer look at southern Wisconsin shows you that temperatures, again, are hovering right around 10 degrees below zero in many locations. That west wind, anywhere from 5 to 12 miles per hour, is going to quickly send that wind chill into the 20s below zero. Wind chill of 3, or a wind of 3 miles an hour technically doesn't produce much of a wind chill, so that's why it's only -10 here in Madison. But you can see all around wind chills ranging 20 to 30 below. No big warm-ups expected today. Temperatures will climb above zero by lunchtime, but barely. We're stuck in the single digits above zero, which is about 30 degrees below normal for this time of the year. Now, we'll look at your future track then heading into tonight. It's going to be another cold night tonight. We're starting out at or just a little bit below zero tomorrow morning. So your extended forecast then has temperatures that will climb into the teens on Tuesday. A pretty slow warm up when you look at the week. We're only into the upper 20s by Friday, getting back into the 30s for the upcoming weekend. We'll watch a storm system Saturday night into Sunday that could bring a mix of precipitation. Now look at your first alert traffic maps this morning with Josh Tim. Good morning, Josh.
Yeah, good morning. Starting off with a crash on outbound Northport Drive, blocking all lanes at Kennedy Road. Delays are growing in that area right now. Just take a different route if you can. Otherwise, the Beltline is moving well with no major issues showing up yet in either direction. Other roads here in Dane County, not looking too bad. Just some of the usual brake lights on Stoughton Road approaching the Beltline ramps. Pretty quiet downtown on campus. Volume won't be a problem at least for another half hour or so. And other main routes coming into the city, they're moving along at the usual speeds with no crashes or delays. Your first alert traffic, I'm Josh Tim.
Yeah, we'll continue to follow that rollover crash. We appreciate it, Josh, and thank you, Hattie, as well. So it is National Consumer Protection Week, and we want to let you know about a resource for you to report and keep track of scams.
Yeah, Tiffany Schultz from the Better Business Bureau is with us this morning to talk about some of the top consumer complaints you're hearing this year. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Doing well. How are you doing this morning?
Great.
Staying warm?
Yeah, trying. So I want to talk about, you folks put together 2 lists. The first being the top 10 most inquired about types of businesses. The second one, the top 10 most complained about types of businesses. And this first one is sort of good news, right? Because it shows folks are doing their homework.
It is. We have 2 vastly different lists that are out there. The most inquired types of businesses are typically businesses that you would use for a homeowner would use. Contracted services. Rounding out the top of the list is roofing contractors, followed by construction services, followed by HVAC. And over 100,000 inquiries were made to the BBB on roofing contractors, which means that consumers are doing their homework before they're hiring contracted vendors to come into their house and perform work. So
we talk a lot on the program, especially after natural disasters. I mean, we had the flooding, we've had the snow, and I mean, that's one of the businesses that you guys put the warnings out a lot, are these contractors and scammers that try to come around and take advantage.
Chasers.
Right, absolutely. So people are doing their homework. They're going to bbb.org. They're calling in. They're looking for recommendations. They're looking for those accredited businesses that are reputable and that have been vetted by the BBB to hire and bring into their home. Homeowners will make a purchase of a home, and that's the most expensive purchase that they'll ever make in their life. So you definitely want a good, reputable business to come in and do work in your home.
And I have worked with a couple of folks who've lost money to roofing contractors in particular, thousands and thousands of dollars. I mean, have you talked to folks and have you heard just how devastating this is for them?
There's definitely scammers out there, and you want to be really careful with who you hire. So you can go to bbb.org, any type of business that you're looking to hire, and you can do an inquiry. You can see how they're rated. You can see if they've been accredited or not, and you can go from there and make your decisions before you hire a contractor to come into your home.
Those are the businesses that we get the most questions about, but then the most complaints come when we talk about places like department stores and auto body shops and furniture shops. But you say some of that has to do with just the sheer volume of people going in there, right?
Right. If you look at the list, department stores round out the list, followed by furniture stores. And we all know that there's a lot of volume that goes through those stores. And those are complaints on Wisconsin-based businesses. So we saw 8,900 complaints come through the Better Business Bureau on those types of businesses. And if you look at it, a lot of those are Wisconsin-based businesses. We're home to a lot of stores. Boston store, for example, that was a business
lot of trouble
here. Kohl's, Ashley Furniture, you name it. The list just goes on with these Wisconsin-based companies. So, but of course, the sheer volume that goes through those, you're going to have more complaints. And if you wanted to make a complaint about any type of business, you can go to bbb.org and follow the prompts there.
We have that website. Maybe we can bring it up. Just walk us through one more time, because it's so important, this resource, to be able to file that complaint. How exactly do folks do this?
You can go to bbb.org, follow the prompts there. You can call our office at 414-847-6000, or if you do have a scam to report, go to bbb.org/scam tracker. And all the information is there for you. So you can help make other consumers aware if you do encounter bad service or a scam.
A really great resource, sir.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for coming on
Thanks
and
for
talking
having
with us.
me.
Of course.
Thank you.
So I am personally very, very jealous of a group of Madison musicians, not just because they got to escape the cold and try some amazing food, they also got to experience a very special part of the Cuban culture. We will share what they brought back with them up next.
Pack on the layers this morning. We are in a wind chill advisory until 10 with temperatures feeling as cold as -15 today. What? Your first alert forecast is coming up on News 3 Now this morning.
Good morning from the News 3 Now First Alert Weather Center. Thought we'd start at the Henry Vilas Zoo. The polar bears are out playing. They're probably the only ones that are happy with this record cold weather that we're seeing this morning. Unique and Barrett are enjoying the cold temperatures. They don't seem to mind. Nice shot there. Looking at the camera, 10 below. It is a new record for us here in Madison. We have not been this cold since 1884. 13 below in the Dells, 15 below in Camp Douglas. Wind chills are in the 20 to 30 below range in most locations. Not much of a wind right now in Madison, so that's why we're not recording a wind chill. But elsewhere, wind chills quickly drop to 25 to 30 below. So bundle those kids up. Hopefully they won't have to wait too long at the bus stop today. Looks like it is going to be indoor recess again. Sorry, teachers. Wind chills staying below zero right through the afternoon.
You can hear the newsroom is really excited about the polar bears. Everyone's giggling and laughing out there.
Keep them coming.
Not so much excited about that cold. Thank you, Hattie. So let's think warm thoughts for a second, shall we? Madison just celebrated its 25th anniversary as a sister city with Camagüey. That's Cuba's third largest city. It's in the central part of the country, about 300 miles away from Havana.
A big part of Cuban culture, of course, is the music, which is why a group of professionals decided Camagüey was the perfect place to go to learn about life through song. Our producer slash photojournalist extraordinaire, Melissa Bailey, shares their story.
We wanted to see how we could help the Cuban people without getting too political.
Madison's sister city relationship with Camagüey, Cuba includes humanitarian assistance like the Wisconsin Medical Project and also group trips where Madison residents can learn what Cuban culture is all about.
Camagüey has traditionally been Cuba's dairy land, so that was a good fit. Also, Camagüey happened to be my hometown in Cuba.
Former Alder Ricardo Gonzalez was at the forefront of establishing the sister city relationship.
Another thing about Camagüey, Camagüey's got a lot of attitude, and so does Madison, as we all know.
Music puts that attitude on display.
There's two things that bring the people of Cuba and the people of the United States together, and that's baseball and jazz.
Jazz is a universal language, and when you're creating in the moment, that's just something that all humans share. For Madisonians, a lot of people don't know about Cuba or what the realities of Cuba are. By bringing the musicians, they can experience it firsthand.
Para sobrevivir como músico, tenemos que hacer mucho trabajo sin solo tocar.
UW-Madison bass instructor Nick Moran
All right, so let's build into that mambo.
Worked with the Sister City Association to bring 10 Madison professional jazz musicians to play with local Cuban performers.
1, 2, mambo, 1, 2, 3, oh.
Why we do this, why we're doing this project, is because we want to show on both sides what our cultures can be when we combine our art.
They also brought 30 Madisonians of all different backgrounds on the trip and 3 UW-Madison students on their winter break.
It was funny to see like these guys who couldn't speak any Spanish and then these guys who couldn't speak any English sitting next to each other and like able to play the same music. It was also funny to hear like both groups of musicians try to play each other's music. Like the Cubans couldn't swing and then like the Madisonians like weren't really hitting. I mean, no, they did great. Never mind. But you know, like there's like just like a different musical language that both of them had. But then they could still come together and play.
Even coming from 2 different worlds.
What happened there was a true come together where people overcame differences, overcame language barriers, and they got together and they made great music.
That is Melissa Bailey in there, and we want to give a shout out to Patty Cassidy as well, who is producing a documentary about the Camagüey trip and provided us with all of that video from Cuba. All right, if you are interested in visiting Cuba, the Madison Camagüey Sister City Association takes group trips every year. You can find out more information over on their Facebook page if you are interested in that.
Doesn't that just make you want to do a little salsa?
It really just like warms me up on this really cold morning.
I'm more of a polka dancer, I'm not going to lie.
I'm not even going to try. I'm going to just let her dance.
All right, we're done. 6:27 your time now. That crash we've been talking about outside Wanakee along Highway 113 is clear right now. Should be clearing up for your morning commute within the next couple of minutes. We're going to have several checks on your first alert traffic still ahead on the show.
And Madison Older says a well-traveled road on the east side won't be fixed at least for another year. The day's top stories are straight ahead on News 3 Now this morning.
House Democrats are gathering evidence against the president to prove he committed crimes both on the campaign trail and in office.
And as the extreme cold comes back into the forecast, there's an organization in our area hoping you can share some warm gear or a hot meal with those struggling with homelessness.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now this morning.
Good morning. Welcome to the final half hour of News 3 Now this morning, 6:31 on this Monday, March 4th. It has been quite a few years. It is 1884 since we have seen a low temperature this cold on this day. And my goodness, we could be headed toward another record-setting cold temperature
Near
later
record
today.
cold temperatures to start this month. But the only people that are happy, or the only beasts that are happy, I should say, the polar bears. They're out. They've been playing all morning. Sorry to our bosses, productivity in the studio has dropped way down.
I know,
Just in the
I'm
last
feeling like a
10
pig
minutes.
watching
Yeah, there
these
you
guys.
go. There's both of them.
Watching these guys play in the snow. They're in their element this morning. We are at a new record low here in southern Wisconsin. Skies are clear. Sun is up. That's good news. We'll see sunshine today, but boy, it's never been this cold on the state. 10 below here in Madison. 13 below in the Dells, 10 below in Prairie du Chien. To make matters worse, there is a little bit of a wind in some spots, and where there is a wind chills quickly drop into the 20s to around 30 degrees below zero. Your wind chill forecast today, because really that's what it's all about. Temperatures are going to be so cold, wind chills will stay in the double digits below zero through most of the day. Now, we did have an accident, a rollover accident earlier on Highway 113. That has cleared, so no other major delays here in Madison. Maybe some slowdowns inbound on Highway 12, but otherwise, looks like you're traveling your posted speeds as you head into Madison right now.
I'm just still shivering thinking about how cold it's going to be today. But yeah,
warm up the car.
I tell you what, if those polar bears continue to be out, the productivity around the whole office, like for the rest of the day, is just going to be
take
really,
those temperatures. If I get to hang out and watch the polar bears all day.
I think so. I might brave the temperatures to actually see the polar bears outside today.
If you're still messing around, bugging one another, it's good stuff. Well, thank you, Hattie.
You're welcome.
So there is an organization that's working to help keep people without a home from freezing on Madison streets this winter.
The nonprofit has been relying on your help at home to keep them going. And Josh Spreiter joins us now with more on how we can help even more, because these temperatures not going anywhere, right?
That is for sure. So one of the main goals set by the Friends of the State Street family is nobody dies in extreme weather conditions. Surprisingly enough, there haven't been any deaths so far this season, but as we've been reporting, winter is far from over. The nonprofit's goal is to develop trust and foster a relationship with each individual they find on the street. They can be there to help them get permanent, supportive housing or support for sobriety, trauma counseling, medical or mental health care. The organization is like the no judgment zone, whether it's a substance or abuse problem. Communications manager Jeff Turk says this year has been great when it comes to awareness because more people come forward to help during the extreme weather. But when dealing with life and death, it's still a very scary situation.
It's amazing how much outpouring of help we've gotten from the community. I mean, so many people respond in a crisis, but it's unfortunate because it's a crisis. You know, you don't want to have to deal with that.
That call for help certainly isn't going away either. Right now, there is still a desperate need for emergency gear like winter coats, heavy blankets, and sleeping bags, just to name a few. You can also help by volunteering your time or making meals. Now, the Madison Police Department, as well as the Salvation Army and the Beacon, have partnered with the Friends of the State Street family because officials say it truly takes a team effort. And if you'd like to help out in the effort, just go to the story on the Channel 3000 mobile app. I've made it very easy for you with some added links there. And there's really some easy things to do. It's easy as just making some meals or just buying some chips and cookies or just anything that we can get to these people that are in desperate need right now.
And this is so important this winter because you think, you know, it's March, it's going to warm up finally. No, I mean, we're looking at another record cold day today, and there's no end in sight.
That was like the thing with the polar vortex. They thought that that was going to be the end of it, but here we are in March, and we're still seeing the same thing. So it isn't ending.
A good reminder to help out those in need. Josh Spreiter, thank you so much.
6:35 this morning, and at the nation's capital, we do expect House Democrats to request documents from President Trump's business associates and dozens of members of his administration. They say those documents could reveal evidence that the president committed crimes both on the campaign trail and while in office.
It's very clear that the president obstructed justice. It's very clear. 1,100 times he referred to the Mueller investigation as a witch hunt. He tried to, he tried to protect Flynn from being investigated by the FBI. He fired Comey in order to stop the Russian thing.
That's House Judiciary Committee Chairman Jerry Nadler, who says he didn't, mention the word impeachment on political talk shows over the weekend, but Republicans say that is clearly the end goal with this request. Now, the president said on Twitter that he's been dealing with more than 2 years of harassment, and the only thing that's been proven is that Democrats broke the law. Into the Channel 3000 Alert Center overnight, the U.S. Embassy in Kenya says 4 Americans are dead after a helicopter crash there. This happened in the country's Central Island National Park Sunday night. Police are not saying what caused the crash at this time. The embassy has named 3 of the 4 victims in the crash, but have not said where they are from specifically. Now, 3 Americans were among the 5 killed in a plane crash in Kenya just last month.
Back home, if your commute takes you along Buckeye Road over on the east side, we probably won't be seeing some of the repairs that were scheduled to start along that stretch this year. Madison elder David Aarons posted on his blog the city is still at odds with Dane County over who's going to pay for that project. Aarons says the county will pitch in 20% of the funding only if the city agrees to pay for all future costs. Meanwhile, the city says it shouldn't have to pay for maintenance because Buckeye is a county highway. Mayor Soglin said last summer the city would refuse to negotiate at that point, and construction would not start until the county takes responsibility.
While the governor is proposing a new gas tax to help cover road repairs statewide, he is not pitching any new strategies to fight chronic wasting disease. That's despite demands from his own party. Governor Evers did not offer any additional funding or initiatives in the budget he announced last week when it comes to CWD. Members of his administration say that they are waiting on the Department of Natural Resources to come up with its own plan before they allocate more resources towards CWD. Now, CWD is a contagious neurological condition that has now affected deer in 56 of Wisconsin's 72 counties. Former Governor Scott Walker was criticized for not taking a more aggressive approach with the disease. 6:38 right now, and one of the Bucs starters says Milwaukee is the most segregated city he has ever lived in. We will share his take in the morning sprint.
And a simple act of kindness can go a long way. We're going to share how thousands of strangers' dogs are helping a Southeast Wisconsin girl get through a devastating medical diagnosis. That story's next on News 3 Now this morning. Welcome back. People across the world continue helping a 7-year-old girl from Waukesha County smile and keep her mind off a pretty scary diagnosis.
So what her parents thought was the flu turned out to be an inoperable brain tumor. And now photos and letters from strangers' dogs are making a big difference.
If you knew Emma, you would know that's exactly what she likes to do for other people. She's just a kind, big-hearted kid who just likes to do nice things for other people.
So first grader Emma Mertens loves dogs. So when a family friend wanted to raise her spirits a bit, she wrote a letter from her pup and asked friends to do the same. And her story went viral, Emma's did, and now she's received more than 75,000 letters from every state and about 50 different countries. Her family's been getting 3,000 emails an hour and a truckload of mail each day. And sorry to the Mertens, but I know some dogs that may have been added to that pile. About 4 different dogs that I know sent their own letters to Emma this weekend. So.
Of course you
very
did that.
sweet, very sweet effort, and what an easy way to lift that little girl's spirits. Yeah.
Doggos helping people.
I love it.
All right, 6:43 your time now. So the last time we saw this record low, Frosted Flakes were patented. The first long-distance call was made, and none of us were alive.
No.
That's 1884. My friends, and to make matters worse, Hattie's extended forecast doesn't have much of a break from that extreme cold. We'll take a look coming up.
The sunrise, beautiful though. First though, it is March 4th. We want to say happy birthday to Liam and all the kids turning 3 today. Thanks for celebrating with us here on News 3 Now this morning.
Good morning from the News 3 Now First Alert Weather Center. We have a wind chill advisory in effect for the entire area this morning. It goes until 10 o'clock, but don't be fooled. The wind chills will stay below zero through the day. Now, when we're talking wind chill advisories in March, that's actually pretty rare. Before today, only one was issued by the National Weather Service in Milwaukee. That covers south central and southeastern Wisconsin, going back to March 2006, and that was back in March 2014. So it's been at least 5 years since we've had pretty cold conditions for the start of March. Now, alert days are in the forecast. Those morning wind chills ranging 20 to 30 degrees below zero. Record cold temps, we've already seen that this morning. We'll be close to record conditions for the next couple of days. In fact, here are all the numbers. Monday, this morning's low, -9. That was 1884, that old record. We broke it this morning with -10. Here's a look at the low-high temperature for today. It's 0. We should climb a little bit above that, so I'm not expecting to break another record for today. And tomorrow morning's low, 12 below. Our forecast is 2 below. So close, but I don't think we'll set that record either. Temperatures, though, will stay well below normal through the next 10 days. In fact, our normal high is 38. We're about 30 degrees below that today. We get close on Saturday, but generally stay below those normal conditions right into the middle of next week. A live look from the WISC-TV Skycam. The good news, though, the sun is up. Skies are clear this morning. Plenty of sunshine early today. Temperatures, though, are cold. 9 below in Watertown this morning. 6 below in Janesville, 9 below in Platteville, Prairie du Chien, and Madison. We're at 10 degrees below zero. Winds are from the west, around 5 to 12 miles per hour. So where there is a wind higher than 3 miles an hour, wind chills are in the 20s to around 30 degrees below zero. In fact, Camp Douglas and Viroqua this morning, it feels like -34. Here's a look at your wind chill forecast through the day today. We're starting off with wind chills around 20 below zero. We'll climb only to the teens below zero by lunchtime and not get much better than that. Wind chills will stay below zero throughout the entire day. It's going to cool back down pretty quickly this evening, already by 8 o'clock, feeling like it's 10 below once again. So here's a look at your extended forecast. We do warm up this week, but it's going to be a very slow warming trend. Alert days are in the forecast today and tomorrow for the bitter cold conditions. We're only back into the upper 20s on Friday. Relatively quiet week, though. We will watch a storm for the weekend, late Saturday into Sunday, that could bring a mix of precipitation. Look at this mischievous cat, Merlin. Should have been named Fang.
Look at that smile.
Is it a smile?
I
Not
think
with a day like today.
Merlin has been caught in the act. I hope he doesn't still have his claws, because he might be damaging that furniture.
Poor buddy. All right, thank you,
Inside day again for Merlin.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, cats are so weird. The morning sprint is up next right here on News 3 Now this morning. Stay with us. 6:52, time for the morning sprint. We have already hit a record low for the day. Josh Spreiter is sharing how we can help the homeless in this never-ending winter.
Speaking of record cold, Hattie says it could feel as cold as -15 with the wind chill today, and we're hearing more of the same for tonight. Right, Hattie?
Temperatures are going to stay pretty cold through the day today, but we have clear skies. The sun is up this morning. We'll have sunshine through the day. Wind chill advisories, though, in effect until 10 o'clock this morning for all of southern Wisconsin. So we're all in the same boat this morning. Our wind chill forecast through the day takes wind chills from the 20s below zero this morning into the teens to around 10 degrees below zero this afternoon. Bundle up today.
Thank you so much, Hattie. So the cold here is the weather story, but the National Weather Service will be in Alabama today, confirming a number of reported tornadoes down south. Now, yesterday's storm system killed at least 23 people, and officials expect that number to rise as search and rescue crews go through all of the rubble today. CBS This Morning will be live in Alabama with the latest just after 7.
And back in our area, the extreme cold weather is wreaking havoc on a lot of us, but it's hitting the homeless population hard, and area organizations are having a hard time keeping up with the help. The Friends of the State Street family has been around since 2011, but this has been an unusually tough winter on the nonprofit. They do outreach at night, primarily on State Street and the square downtown. Volunteers are there to give basic necessities to those living out in the cold and point them in the direction of help at area shelters. Even though we're reaching the tail end of winter, they are in desperate need of volunteers to help out with donations and meals. Find out how you can get involved at channel3000.com.
Thank you, Josh. The U.S. Embassy says 4 Americans are dead after a helicopter crash in Kenya. It happened in the country's Central Island National Park Sunday night. Right now, police aren't saying what caused that crash, but it comes just a month after 3 Americans were killed in a plane crash in that same country.
It's very clear that the president obstructed justice.
I think Congressman Nadler decided to impeach the president the day the president won the election.
Lawmakers from both political parties are reacting as House Democrats are expected to request documents from more than 60 members of the president's administration, business associates, and relatives. They claim those documents will provide evidence that President Trump committed crimes both on the campaign trail and while he's in office. Over the weekend, the president tweeted that he's been, quote, harassed by Democrats for years.
A 12th Democratic candidate is officially jumping into the 2020 presidential race. Former Colorado Governor John Hickenlooper announced this morning he's joining the crowded field of candidates. In his announcement, he talked about his experience working with Republicans, including persuading them to back a tax hike to fund a rail network around Denver. He also put methane emissions limits in place, expanded Medicaid, and signed gun control bills.
A UW-Milwaukee professor is not allowed to teach right now after being charged with sexually assaulting 2 students. Anthony Zibanamor will be back in court for a preliminary hearing later this month. The university says it's evaluating the biomedical science instructor's employment, and in the meantime, he is not assigned to teach any classes.
Bucks guard Malcolm Brogdon says Milwaukee is the most segregated city he's ever lived in. Brogdon grew up in Atlanta before going to college in Charlottesville, Virginia. The 26-year-old says he heard about racism in Milwaukee before he was drafted by the Bucks a couple of years ago. He says there's a lot of work to do when it comes to being progressive and is hopeful his team could be part of leading that change.
It's really important that we train and educate providers in communities that they will potentially go back and work in. The more intimately knowledgeable providers are about the communities they're serving in, the better they can tailor services to meet the needs of those communities.
A psychiatric mental health care certificate program at UW-Madison is working to train nurses and expand services in rural areas where that treatment can be harder to find. The 18-month certificate is for registered nurses with master's degrees.
6:56 your time now. Let's turn it over to Josh Tim with a look at your first alert traffic. Hey, Josh.
Yeah, good morning. Picking up on the westbound Beltline between Stoughton Road and West Broadway, but really nothing that'll delay you quite yet. Inbound John Nolan tapping the brakes at Rimrock and Olin Avenue. That's going to add a couple minutes into the downtown area. And other main routes heading into the city, they're cruising along at the usual speeds right now. No major crashes or delays. Your first alert traffic, I'm Josh Tim.
Thank you, Josh.
And we have sunshine this morning. That's the best news. Here's a live look from the Edgewater Skycam out at downtown Madison. Clear skies, but very cold conditions this morning. Don't be fooled. Wind chill advisories are in effect. Temperatures are below zero this morning. Record cold temperatures set this morning. We have a high of just 6 this afternoon.
Yeah, we could set that record low high for the day as well, or get dangerously
close.
All right, stay warm out there today. Already 3 school districts opening late. Have a good one.